everyone, this is Kelly Janae, energy healer, astrologer, magician extraordinaire, coming to you from Costa Rica and also ethereal ecology, the field that I exist in. Today I want to talk to you about crystal grids, what they are, how they work, and how to make them. So as per usual, I came traveling with a bag of crystals because I knew that I wanted to make a crystal grid while I was here. So first and foremost, what is a crystal grid? What is a crystal grid? I don't know how to think about this. Crystal grids are extremely powerful tools for manifestation. A crystal grid is a collection of stones and other objects, meaningful objects, that are placed in a specific pattern in order to amplify a person's intention for what they want to manifest or bring into their life. Crystals, specifically, are amazing at holding intention. They hold the energy that we program into them. They also hold the energy that they just naturally have based on what kind of crystal they are, what their color is, how they're formed, where they come from in the world, but we can also program them so that they have a specific intention within them, which then is held in their field and radiated outward. And when we put crystals into a grid, into a pattern, which a lot of times is aligned with sacred geometry, or some sort of pattern that really aligns and resonates with you and your heart and what you're trying to manifest, they actually amplify each other, the crystals do. And there's a little bit of a science to which crystals go where and all of that, but mostly crystal grids are an artistic exercise, a creative exercise that is extremely powerful for holding your intention and allowing that to be radiated out into the universe in a more powerful and clear way. Okay, so you're probably watching this video because you want to make a crystal grid, so let's go ahead and talk about how to make one. The first step in making a crystal grid is making sure that you have a clear intention. And when I say that, I mean you have something in your mind or your heart that you want to manifest. And this does not necessarily need to be something specific, like I want a house, I want a job, I want a relationship. Sometimes what you want to manifest is more clarity about what you want to manifest, because it's not necessarily always a great idea to manifest something unless you're completely sure that it's going to bring you fulfillment. Because ask and you shall receive. So there is a little bit of discernment when it comes to doing magic like this. But yes, the first step is to get clear on your intention. Why are you making your crystal grid? For instance, this crystal grid that I'm making is really kind of a general crystal grid. It's not super specific, but it's taking into account a couple of factors. Like, I'm really wanting to find more alignment in my life, to make sure that my living situation, my job, my everyday life and movements is aligning with my soul's purpose and what feels right for me. And this incorporates, like I said, a lot of different levels: work, job, relationships. And so I'm using my grid to really hold the intention for a lot of different aspects of myself to all come into coherency with one another. Like I said, it doesn't need to be super specific. You can have a general intention. It could be something huge, like, oh, I need this huge change, or something really small. It doesn't matter. Holding that in your field as a feeling, as a sense, doesn't have to be necessarily a mental intention, though using the mental, emotional, physical, all of that is going to help strengthen your crystal grid and help it know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But really, you can trust the process. You can really trust that what you desire is in your field. It's in your energy field. So when you're working with the crystals and with the objects, they're getting to know you just by being in contact with you. So now that you're clear on your intention for why you're making your grid, you can then choose what kind of pattern you want to use, and you can choose the stones that you want to use in your grid. This is a creative exercise. If you want to look at different sacred geometry patterns and investigate exactly how they work in terms of manifestation, what kinds of energies they hold. For example, you might want to use an infinity symbol for creating more flow in your life or more balance. You may want to use a flower of life for abundance and growth. There's so many different kinds of sacred geometry patterns. You can also use just sort of any type of pattern that feels right for you. The most important thing is your intention, and also creating a container with your crystal grid that really holds the energy you're trying to accomplish. So for instance, with my crystal grid, I have a sort of what I call a medicine wheel pattern, where I have sort of the 4 directions around a focus stone. So in the north, I've got a stone that is for getting clear communication from my spirit guides and from spiritual guidance. The left and the right sides, the east and west, are really for my masculine and feminine to really come into more power and balance. And then the south is a place of groundedness for me and a place of finding my home. So that was what I was going for with my pattern. And then of course I have a couple of crystals that are placed sort of outside of that main grid as well, which I just felt intuitively would really help to support the vision that I have going on. And I like to incorporate a little bit of supporting the great mystery in my crystal grids, because we can ask for what we want, but there's always an element of mystery, and there's always almost something better that the universe wants to give us. So I like to put some crystals here to bring in magic and to also kind of place crystals for other people's positive influences coming in, so that it's not all just me. Like I said, it's a creative process and you'll find what you want to do just by trusting your own intuition. The crystals I just chose intuitively. You always want to have a focus stone in the middle. Your focus stone should be a quartz crystal, an amethyst, a smoky quartz, potentially even a rose quartz point, something that's pointing upwards. It could either be one point, it could be a lot of different points, but some kind of stone that can take all the energy that you're creating around the grid and focus it and send it out into the universe. So a clear crystal is really good for that. I'm using this crystal that has a picture of a woman with a sword and she's on the top of a mountain, because that's me. I feel resonance with that image. And then around the quartz crystal, I just placed whatever crystals. Colorful crystals are great. Colors are really important. They hold energy, they hold feeling, they hold emotion, so they can help really get you clear on what you're trying to manifest. And sometimes you don't know why you're putting a stone somewhere, but it feels right, so just go with that. And then on the outside of my grid, I put some grounding stones, some protective stones in the north and the south directions to really make sure that the influences that are coming in from above and below are being purified and filtered. And then also I wanted to put some selenite on the left and the right, east and the west, to sort of purify and cleanse anything that's keeping me from being in alignment. It's always recommended, always, to have some sort of protective barrier around your crystal grid. That is going to keep any sort of negative influences, negative energies from entering into your life, into this intention. It's going to strengthen your grid and make sure that it's grounded. And in addition to the stones that you're going to use, you can get as creative and wild as you want with the kind of imagery and symbolism that you use. So I have here a picture of this amazing goddess who's on a dragon in the woods with a bunch of foxes around, because that's who I am, that's who I feel like, and I want to really sink into the essence of my goddess nature. And so I put that right in the middle. It just felt really beautiful and resonant. And then I also placed some sage just around for purification, cleansing in my field. Also, you want to place your grid on an object. So I have my grid on a piece of wood that was just on the porch out here. And this object, first of all, holds the energy of the land, which is important. But your object doesn't necessarily need to be anything meaningful, but it can. So for instance, I have some grids at home that are on pieces of artwork that I did that have yin-yang symbols and other kinds of things like that. So you can put it on artwork, you can put it on wood, anything like that. And the reason for this, there's several. One is because it's gonna be easier for you to move your grid if you need to move it, which you might. And two, it can be meaningful and hold space. And it also just brings another element of beauty and coherency to your grid, which of course is very important. So once you have chosen your crystals and your symbolism and what you want to make, and you know your intention, you kind of have a general idea of how you want to place your stones and everything, it's time to make your grid. One of the most important things to do before you make your grid is to make sure that you are in a good mood. You want to make sure that you are feeling magical and open and really holding the energy of what it is that you're trying to create. So once you've done that, you want to make sure also that you program your stones. So you may have a lot of stones, you may only have a couple. I like to program my stones, and what I mean by that is I will have a stone, this is a little shungite pyramid, and I'll sit with it. and I will hold an intention for what I'm trying to manifest. You know, for instance, for this grid, I sat with each of the stones in my 4 directions, and I really sat with, okay, sacred feminine, clear guidance, able to channel my spiritual guides, and then like feelings of home. And it's really more important to feel the feelings and to allow those feelings of what you want to create to really fill you up physically, energetically. And so that stone, it's your intention. You can tell that stone with words, affirmations, what it is you want to bring in. Do that with an open heart and allow it to flow into the stone until it feels right, and then place the stone where you want it to be. You may also find that you want to use some stones in between your main stones that are more like amplification stones. I didn't do that here, but you can do like quartz points. If you have a really complex grid, you can do like quartz points between your crystals that like really amplifies and connects them all and things like that. And I can do another video later for a different kind of crystal grid, but for those I wouldn't say you necessarily need to program them. So just use your discernment with which stones you want to give very specific energy and then which stones you just want to have supporting the general theme of your grid. Before you do anything with your stones, make sure that they're cleansed. This is good energetic hygiene 101 anyways. You can do this by putting them in the moon the night before, letting them sit on the ground in the sun. You can put them in water with salt overnight, or you can just smudge them with sage. It just depends on, you know, what they've been up to, what the stones have been up to, how kind of much energy they've been holding and bringing in, and what they need. But yeah, make sure to cleanse your stones, and then you can program them. So once your stones are programmed, cleansed, ready to go, just start placing your stuff. Feel your magic, let it flow. Really focus in and concentrate and have fun. Make your grid. And when you're done making your grid, you're gonna have your grid, but you want to activate it. Activate your grid. So how do you do that? You can activate your grid just by using your intention again. There's a theme here. Powerful beings we are. Our intention creates reality. So you can activate your grid using any sort of like crystal wand, a stick wand, your finger wand, your hands, anything that like is going to put some more energy and coherency holding a field in your crystal grid. So it's kind of like, it really is like energy work. You may not be familiar with doing energy work, but you're doing it all the time, really. But just trust that you are sending your energy into this grid in a way that is activating it and turning it on in a way. For this one, I really just kind of put my hands out and felt what I wanted and kind of moved my hands in intuitive ways and said some words to the grid. I'm not sure what I said, but I just made it very clear what I wanted this grid to hold, and I just sat with it when I opened my heart and I allowed the grid to activate and to integrate with me and kind of became one with the grid and then allowed it to kind of be itself and hold space for me. So that may sound very like right brain and kind of, but that's not specific enough for me, Kelly Janae. I need specific instructions. You can use a wand to kind of go in like a circle around it to be like, you are activated, bing, you know, like you're a magician. Be a magician. And trust sure that your imagination is working. You can send light into it. You can draw the pattern. You know, just do something. Activate it. You know what you're doing. You're a magical being. Okay, so congratulations. You have made your crystal grid, and it's beautiful. You love it. It feels great. You feel great. You know that you're going to manifest what you want because you just put so much energy into making a crystal grid, and it's going to hold that intention for you and be an extension of you and teach you over the period of however long you want your crystal grid to be there, which is just up to your discretion. So you want to place your grid in a nice sunny place where it gets good circulation and it's not cluttered by stuff. You know, throughout the day, throughout your life, you can give your grid some love. Go up to it, share your heart with it, pray with it, smudge it, do all the things. Create a relationship with your grid, thank your grid, and you may want to also add some more imagery to your grid, maybe update it if something changed. It's really a dynamic tool that you now have to use for your creative potential. Okay, that's it. That's how to make a crystal grid. I do tend to be more flowy and intuitive when it comes to my grid making, but I'm sure that you will find a style that works for you. Many blessings on your journeys of co-creating beautiful, magical things for your life and your fulfillment. I love you all very much. Please let me know how this video was for you. And like I said, I'll hopefully post some other examples of grids too so that you can see the variety that is possible with this tool. Much love. Peace. Intention and holding energy. Oh my god. Get out of my face!